The Petaluma Trojans get cheered on by their supporters as they board the bus in Petaluma as they make the trip to beautiful Alameda, a beautiful sunset over Willie Stargirl Field, home of the Encinal Jets. But for one team, the sun will set on their 2018 varsity football season.
Touchdown, Trojan!
Good evening, everyone. I am Griffin Epstein, joining you from beautiful Alameda, the San Francisco Bay. Behind me, it is a gorgeous scene here at Willie Stargirl Field for the first round of the NCS playoffs between the Petaluma Trojans and the Encinal Jets, a rematch of 2 years ago when these teams faced off in 2016. For Petaluma, they've had so many highs this year, but also a lot of lows. The biggest low last week in a blown loss to Casa Grande. Can Petaluma refocus and make a run in the NCS playoffs in this 8-9 matchup? It should be a close battle between two very good teams. The Jets have a stellar defense, but it's a very young team, and the Trojans will hope to use some of their experience and poise to pull out a victory here and try to get their first NCS victory in 3 years. It's the Encinal Jets and the Petaluma Trojans, the NCS playoffs, coming up next, right here on Trojan Live. And we welcome you up top, Willie Stargirl Field. Goosebumps as the national anthem was just finished in this gorgeous scene. Night has descended here in Alameda, and we are ready for the first round of the playoffs, the 8 seed versus the 9 seed. It should be a close competitive battle between these two, but we talked about it in the open. Can Petaluma refocus from one of the hardest losses in Petaluma High School history? They're crushing 37-36 loss in the Egg Bowl last week. Controversy, too. We'll get into it more as the game goes on, but they certainly could have easily won this game, and if they easily won the Egg Bowl, if they had, they would be at home facing the Jets instead of having to make the hour-and-a-half drive here to Alameda. Petaluma in white, Encinal in black. Encinal 7-3 overall, 3-2 in the West Alameda County Shoreline League. But it's not been a good end of the year for Encinal, a very young team. You might expect them to improve, but they have dropped their last 2 games, nonetheless against 2 very good teams. Fell to San Leandro 2 weeks ago, 18-13, and fell to Bishop O'Dowd, who won their league 21-6 last Friday night. However, that Bishop O'Dowd, one of the top teams in the Bay Area, and they only allowed O'Dowd to 21 points. That is one of the signals of the Jets and their strengths. Defense. They have been dominant defensively, especially in their last half of the year. The most points they've given up all year since in October and into November now was against O'Dowd, 21 points. They gave up 22 points in a loss to Deonza, a top seed in Division II. And the most points they've given up all year to a very familiar Trojan opponent, 28 points to Encinal in a 42-28 victory over the Tigers in Sebastopol back in August. Encinal very young, and they're a small team too. Only 5 seniors, 13 sophomores, and a total roster of 30. Petaluma now with 45 players, with 7 players getting called up for NCS. Off the JV team, Petaluma will defer to the second half, so we'll see Encinal's offense first. And it's going to be a real test for the Petaluma offense, who's been doing so well. Had a terrific game against the Gauchos last Saturday. If they can continue to keep things going against a very physical and very good Jets team. But the Petaluma defense is going to need to turn things around after what was really a pitiful second half performance last week against the Gauchos. They could not be stopped. Kickoff is next. Jets, Trojans, NCS playoffs. It is a natural grass field. It is not in amazing condition either, so that will be one factor. Petaluma has only played one previous game on a natural surface. That was against Sonoma Valley 3 weeks ago, and a victory for the Trojans. And this field, debatably even worse condition. It's slightly curved. It's a hill at the middle, then going downhill at the middle of the field, and you can tell very worn down between the hashes. So that's something to watch. Footing on this field, and something the Jets are very used to, obviously playing here, but something Petaluma, mostly playing on turf fields, has not been acclimated to. Hogya to boot it away for Petaluma, and certainly you think you want to get back out on the field
after their horrible taste in their mouth, leaving the field last Saturday against the Gauchos, a game that they certainly thought they should have won. But the key is, are they fully focused on this, or are they still looking back at that Gaucho game? Because if they are, their season could be done in a jiffy. Winner advances to the quarterfinals by Cardinal Newman as we're underway. Short kick by Hoggia, well fielded at the 39, and that's where the Jets offense will start. Encinal, coached by first-year coach Keith Miner. Very young team. As we mentioned, they lost 18 seniors from a really good team last year. They were 11-1 last year. They didn't lose in the regular season. They fell in the quarterfinals of Division III NCS to Cardinal Newman. And then their coach left. Coach at another school, Keith Miner, takes over, but he's done a good job with a young Jets team. Some good wins, and they've been competitive even in their last 2 losses. Batted down at the line. Daniel DeCarly starting it off, getting his big mitts up there, the senior captain for the Trojans, as it was David Romero Reinholtz looking to pass for the Jets, their starting quarterback. 5'11", 175-pound junior. He's thrown for over 1,000 yards this year. He's an exceptional quarterback. Encinal will look to air it out. They don't run the football too much, but it's a balanced attack. Nonetheless, they have a lot of big plays this year, and the Petaluma secondary is going to be tested. They struggled last week in the second half. Out to the right, and not a lot of room there on the first run of the evening for the Jets. Encinal's got led by Archie Cole, who had the carry there, 511 rushing yards, averaging 56 yards per game, leads the Jets. Here's a sweep. Nice tackle and room down the sideline for Cole. Well, that's not Cole, as Hartman shoves him out. A 15-yard pickup before Teddy Oliver is forced out of bounds. The 6-foot, 175-pound junior, one of the speediest players on the Jets, and you saw it there as he jetted right past talented Trojan cornerback Garrett Freitas. No score, 11:21 left to go here in the first round of the NCS playoffs. 8 versus 9. Petaluma looking for their first NCS victory in 3 years. Fell here on Willie Stargell Field 2 years ago. High pass, and it is bobbled and caught, and now breaking away. All the way to the house. The Jets will start it off with a touchdown. Landis Green hauls it in. Well, that was Oliver who hauls it in. And the Jets take a 6-0 lead, an odd-looking play. Petaluma was there. Oliver, however, bobbled the ball. Safeties flew by Oliver, and then it was a foot race. And Encinal has the speed to beat the secondary, as you can see. And a secondary that continues to struggle, but really an unlucky play there for the Petaluma defense. Exactly how the Jets want to start after 2 straight losses. Ugly-looking PAT, but it splits the uprights. 7-0. It can nearly go into the bays, you can see right behind that scoreboard, but the Jets, a 45-yard pass route to Teddy Oliver, and they strike first here in this first round, 7-0. 2 years ago in 2016 when these teams faced off, Encinal blew out Petaluma 47-6. That was the 7-10 matchup. Not too many players on either roster were here for that one. Trojans just 2 current seniors that were playing, DeCarly and Sambita, that made the trip. Here to Alameda, Freitas fields it off a bounce. He's dangerous, makes a man miss, steps out of sideline, a late push, and it will be a unnecessary roughness as Freitas clearly over the white line, and a late push. It's dangerous too there. They got the long jump hit right off the sideline. You could easily trip. So Freitas out at the 35, but the unnecessary roughness, or after the play, will give the Trojans excellent field position at the 50, and you can hear head coach Keith Miner shouting all the way across the field from up top in the press box. Not happy at that undisciplined play there by the Jets, who are very young, as we mentioned, and Petaluma wants to use their experience. Most of these players haven't played in an NCS game. There's just that young, 5 seniors. I mean, it's ridiculous. And a lot of sophomores. Oliver, one of those players that returns from their team last year, and you saw his speed and skill in that first drive. So Cole Powers Start off with a screen to Freitas. Always dangerous. Freitas cutting back, and he's got a parade of blockers down the sideline. He'll step out of bounds at the 30, but a quick 20-yard screen. Powers to Freitas. There was a lot of that last week in the Egg Bowl, and a dominant performance for the Petaluma offense. They just ran it down the throat of Casa Grande last week. 457 yards of offense, 382 rushing yards. And Powers was perfect on the day, 6 for 6 for 54 yards. He really managed the game well. We have whistles. They whistled Prieto down, except that Prieto didn't have the ball. That's horrible reffing. And typically, the fans will call the refs blind, and they're not literal, but that was literal blindness. Nothing you can do about it if you're Petaluma, but that Jets ran on Prieto. It was an excellent read option by Powers, and they just blew the play dead. Now they're talking about it, and these referees maybe have. They're discussing replaying the down now, which is fair. So I believe they're going to replay the down. The refs admit their mistake and decide to do it again, which is fair. Powers 42 for 93 overall in the season, 511 yards passing. Haven't looked a lot through the air, though, the last couple games. He was a little bit under the weather in the Egg Bowl. Jack Hartman, backup quarterback, started the first few drives for Petaluma in that one. Give to Prieto, and it's 5 yards in a cloud of dust as he bullies his way up the middle. But a good run by Prieto, who had another excellent game against the Gauchos last Saturday. Prieto now 680 yards on the year and 110 carries, leads the team in carries. And he is just a workhorse. Had 173 against the Gauchos. He never tires, but he's going to be hard to stop, even for this very good Jets defense. Encinal team that limited O'Dowd to 21 points, as we mentioned. Linebacker Josiah Nagaluvu leads the Jets defense as Freitas on the end around gets the first down. 7 more yards, and this Petaluma offense is leaving off right where they started last week. They look in rhythm, they look confident, and they're moving the ball down. But you also like the more creative play designs early that you've seen here from head coach Rick Christ. Not just running it down the middle. It got a little bit stale against the Gauchos, and even though Costa couldn't really stop it, it was predictable. This is too good of a defense in the Jets to be predictable. Seen all sorts of different play designs. Give to Freitas, the eye back. Has a couple on the first down and 10, and he's down to about the 15 to bring up a 2nd and 8. Right. Just have the yard markers on the side of the field, so it is often going to be anyone's guess exactly where on the field they are for this Saturday night affair. 4 other NCS Division III games going on as we speak. We'll try to update you on them, but Cardinal Newman has a bye, so they are awaiting the winner of this one next Friday in Santa Rosa. Prieto up the middle, but not a lot of room that time. And this is going to bring up a third, probably about 4. As we approach 9 minutes remaining, and the Jets with a 7-0 lead, a 50-yard pass play started this one off. Freitas, who's already got a 20-yard pass play, over 1,000 yards. He hit it against the Gauchos, now 1,107 yards, 108 carries, averaging 123 yards per game. And he certainly made a case for VVAL Player of the Year, hoping that this is not his final game of his career. Powers the fake, Prieto on the screen, and Powers overthrew him. We saw that play a lot last week in the Egg Bowl and helped Prieto rack up a lot of receiving yards. He finished with 46 yards on 3 catches last week, but Powers overthrows it, and this brings up a 4th down. And a late decision, and now head coach Rick Christ yelling for the kicking team. So this will be about 33 yards for Daxton Hogya, who's been terrific with his right foot. 5 for 5 on field goals, along with 38. So there should be no issue, though. The footing isn't great, and he didn't kick a field goal at Sonoma Valley in their one grass game. Freitas is the holder. Oliveira, the center, the snapper. And that, he totally missed it. So maybe that grass affected that, because that was not a normal Daxton Hugga looking kick, a line drive, and it never had a chance. So Petaluma pieces together a nice drive, but does not get the result they want, and this is not the start you want for a team that has to be frustrated after last week's play, and you need a stop by your defense right now. You cannot let this one get out of hand and let the Jets, who lack the experience and also lack great depth to gain in confidence and get in the fourth quarter. Could be the Trojans who have the advantage. Freitas wraps up. Quick pass play. So it was Kiar Stewart, who is only a sophomore, one of those 13 sophomores, 268 receiving yards on the year, one of 3 Jets with over 200 receiving yards. They'll spread it around, but it'll mostly be Teddy Oliver and Landis Green, one of the 5 seniors, that lead it. They fake the sweep, go up the middle, miss tackle at the line, and a good pickup close to the marker. And that will move the sticks. 10-yard run, couple missed tackles up the middle, uncharacteristic for this Petaluma defensive line. They've really been wrapping up well, but ever since they struggled in the second half against Napa, in a game they won in a blowout, they haven't really looked the same, especially that defensive line, which has been hit and miss all year. Toss out wide, nowhere to go. Excellent defense. John Candow, the cornerback, comes out of the secondary to make the tackle. No gain on that. We'll bring up a 2nd and 10. That was Cole again. You're going to see out of the backfield for the most part. Freitas starting his 2nd game back at cornerback. He hadn't played a game at quarterback since Terralinda after tweaking his ankle against El Molino. Time and over the middle. It is incomplete, just overthrown. Good pass protection by the Jets line, but Romero Reinhold's just off over the middle. Not horrible coverage. Secondary there, Jack Hartman, who had at least statistically a good game against the Gauchos, but a couple of big plays. You know, the sophomore is going to want to have back one of, before all 7 JV players were called up, one of only 2 sophomores on this team. Handoff on 2nd and 10. And Cole is flipped up. I'm sorry, that was 3rd. Just in front of the marker, only a yard. Cole's gotten good yardage up the middle. They're going to move the sticks. I thought Cole was tripped up. Nice tackle by Havard, but Cole with 10 more yards. Again, we saw it on 2nd down, and the Jets marching their way downfield. 6:30 remaining here in the first. This defensive line is going to need to step up for Petaluma if they want to win this game. Nowhere to go that time. Swarming to the ball. A couple Trojan defenders. Howard was in there. Alexander, a couple coaches. We talked about it a bunch against Casa Grande, the Jekyll and Hyde of the Petaluma defense, and especially the defensive line. They have been torched in some games, such as against Santa Rosa. And they've had exceptional games, such as against Terralinda. They were not good, especially, they were decent first half against the Gauchos. They were horrible second half against the Casa team that doesn't like to run the football. And the Gauchos could do what they wanted with them. 350 yards of offense in the Egg Bowl for Casa. Open wide receiver. Candow fell down and off to the races and finally shoved out of bounds. It's Teddy Oliver again. His footing has absolutely been a factor. Candow fell down. Oliver was going to make the catch, but the Jets pick up probably an extra 30 yards on Candow falling down and Hartman coming over to force him out. And it's a 40-yard pass play, and Oliver has been in the middle of this Encinal offense so far. Nowhere to go that time. Runs to the left and right have not been so far effective for the Jets, but it's been up the middle that they found some things. Isaiah Smith, backup running back, junior for the Jets on that one. 5 minutes remaining. And the Jets threatening to go up 2 scores here early in this first quarter, kind of reminiscent of 2 years ago on this field. So much time for Romero Reynolds. He loses the ball, but it falls to a Jet and all the way down to about the 2. That's going to bring up a 3rd and goal. I don't know if Romero Reynolds was trying to toss the football or he just lost it and it fell to Smith. Whatever the case, it worked out, and it brings up a 3rd and short for the Jets. Trojan defense has done an excellent job at goal line. They stopped the Gauchos a couple plays from their 1 in the first quarter last week. 10-men heavy set. And the ball is out, and I think the Jets landed on it. Almost a huge break there. Nonetheless, the Jets are going to lose about 4 yards. Encinal does recover the football. Nice job by the Trojans, able to punch it out. That's something that you would love to do. And it looks like the field goal team is going to come out. So that is now a win for Petaluma if they can bring out the field goal team. Oh, maybe not. Thought I saw a change of formation. 3 wide receivers split out wide. Romero Reynolds is looking there. Touchdown. That was just too easy. There was 3 wide receivers. There was only 2 cornerbacks out there, and that's just not good defense by Petaluma. You got to call timeout if that's not set up. Trojans almost make a stop. Instead, it's 13-0, and the Jets in control in this first quarter. Max Onaga on for the extra point. Right through the middle, nowhere near the bay. And it's 14-0, but if the Trojans do not wake up, they're going to be in the bay soon. They have suffered some bad breaks, but the energy does not look amazing. You can hear Coach Chris shouting. This is not a good start for Petaluma at all. They trail 14-0, 4:11 remaining here in the first quarter. Coach Chris pacing the sideline and just yelling at whoever he sees right now. He is not in a good mood. And well warranted. It's a Petaluma team that does not look energetic right now. Nonetheless, it was a nice drive for the offense to start, and you got to replicate that. They stalled, though, and then the normally reliable Hagia missed the kick. Nice big kick here. And this is Dominic Butts on the return. Nice tackle at the 25-yard line. So not so good field position this time for the Petaluma offense. 3:59 remaining in the first. And this feels like a must score for the Trojans. You cannot start falling behind 3 scores early in a game and expect to come back against a well-coached physical Jets team that does not give up big plays easily. Petaluma is a slow strike offense for the most part and not a team that likes to come from behind. They came from behind against Montgomery in their season opener. They trailed 14-0 in that one in the first quarter, so maybe reminiscent of that. Toss is to Pedersen. Excellent tackle. Pedersen had some room if he could get away, but it was Robert Stefani, the sophomore linebacker, dragging Pedersen down, who has been featured prominently, even though listed as a wide receiver, more as a running back on those tosses when Freitas isn't in there. And Freitas looked a little gimpy after that goal line stop, and he's still on the sideline, so I don't know if he's healthy. Pedersen has 205 rushing yards, but when Freitas was not healthy in Trojans American Canyon loss, Pedersen was not able to pick up the slack of the Trojans All-SCL running back last year. The ball is tipped. Prieto takes a shot as they're looking for in the flank. Lucky that just that was one wasn't intercepted. It's 3rd down. Stefani, who just made the tackle, batted that one down at the line. Petaluma needing a spark right now. Freitas is going to jog back out there. And they need him to have a big play. He played very well against Acalanes in the Trojans' 63-25 loss to the Dons. That game was a lot closer, though, than the score looks. Petaluma was into that game until the third quarter. Things kind of fell apart in the last 12 minutes. But Petaluma very competitive with a very good Dons team in NCS last year. It is the give to Freitas, working his way very close to the sticks. And he is going to have enough for the first. Excellent job by Freitas, just keeping those legs moving. He had 7 Jets wrapped around him. Oh, I'm sorry, it was Pedersen actually. 7 Jets wrapped around Pedersen, but he kept on moving, using those wrestling skills to get a very hard-fought 10 yards. Pedersen, third place in NCS last year in wrestling at 145 pounds, one of the vocal team leaders as well. He's only 5'7", 145 pounds, but he was not be brought down until he reached the sticks there. 11-yard pickup. Petaluma to the 40 and a much-needed first down. Another power set here. Powers fakes, and he gets maybe a yard before being brought down. 2nd and 9. 2 minutes left to go here in this first quarter. Half-filled stands here at Alameda. And they don't bring in a lot of students. They didn't 2 years ago when we were here either, and probably double the size of the Petaluma contingent, which is, a lot of them have made the trip, our trip down here. I ruled he got 1 yard, so 2nd and 9. Frito in the backfield. Powers will fake. They've looked to pass a lot more here early, and dropped. Havard had it and could not corral it. That is frustrating, especially if you're Powers, who's been throwing a pretty ball of late, even with his thickness. He was perfect 5 for 5 last week and had Havard at a comeback route right to the sticks, and Havard bobbled it. By the time he tried to corral it, the Jets were there to pry it away. Havard leads the team wide receivers in receiving yards, 142 yards, but he had a key drop last year's NCS playoff game against Docalani's. A flea flicker, and Freitas threw the football. Havard wide open, just dropped it. It's one issue for wide receivers. Powers is sacked. Brought in down by number 21 for the Jets, Josiah Nagalevu. Defensive leader, defensive captain for the Jets. Pedersen with the nice run, but now the Trojans are going to have to punt the football away. Good first drive. The second drive looked much worse for Petaluma. They look out of sorts right now. Nick Ayers on to punt. Or I'm sorry, Cole Powers is on to punt for Petaluma. So that's a change, but Petaluma hasn't punted in 4 games. No, it's a fake. Powers looking downfield for Freitas. Broken up. So that explained why Powers was in to throw it. And they had Freitas in one-on-one. They took their shot. It was a good-looking play, but it was excellent defense by the Jets secondary. And now excellent field position for Encinal. That was the potential for a game-changing spark, but it did not happen there. So 58 seconds remaining in this first quarter. And the Jets offense, which is moving with ease right now, back on out there. Romero Reynolds thrown for 10 touchdowns coming in. Now 2 more already today. And up the middle, 9 more yards for the Jets, who, when they're going between the tackles, they are just running it down a hill right now. Petaluma linebackers, Nick Ayers, Derek Pomey, will be 2 VVAL, all VVAL players, but they are right now 2 of the leading tacklers on this team. Even they have not been able to stop the run of late. Ball is out, and it is recovered by the Trojans. Mariano Harmamio comes up with it. Petaluma badly needed something. They forced a fumble on the goal line last possession. This time they recover it, and with 27 seconds left in the first quarter, it's Trojan football. Something finally to cheer about for the Petaluma fans, who make some noise, and they pretty much get it right back where they were 1 minute ago. This Petaluma defense has done an excellent job all year long forcing turnovers. Interception against Casso, that's not good looking at all. There might have been a false start, or everyone was drawn off by the Jets. It is offsides. Encinal just jumps the snap. So free 5 yards for Petaluma. Trojan defense, 15 interceptions. And they have recovered 9 fumbles, make it 10 now on that one, and forced 15. Actually, now 17, counting the 2 today. It's been an excellent job by the defense forcing turnovers all years long. Prieto spinning through the tackles and a hard-fought 4-yard run. Prieto's averaging 6 yards per carry on the year. Might not find it as easy running tonight against the Jets, but if you keep on working through those tackles, they will open up later in the game. We have reached the end of one here from Willie Stargell Field. It's the Encinal Jets 14 and the Petaluma Trojans nothing. They will switch sides of the field, start of the second quarter, and Petaluma hoping that this direction will treat them more favorably. And again, that there's no way that was. How are there no flags on that? I mean, that was. Encinal is trying to jump the snap, I think, which is why they're offsides, and I think they did again. Jumped it early, but they didn't call it. It just looked a mess from the start there. Powers maybe got a yard. I don't know if he even wanted to hand it off. It was just such a mess. So 3rd and about 2. Another big 3rd down here. Could be 4-down territory. Powers fakes, and he's got room out in the flank, and blockers abound. Cole Powers all the way down to the 25 in the big play. The Trojans need it. The offense is in business. Excellent read option by the senior quarterback. The Jets swarmed Prieto, accepting the short yardage run, and the long-willowed Powers took it himself. An excellent rusher, 232 yards on 68 rushes this year. He goes for 35 yards. Pedersen in motion, give to Prieto. And Jets are quickly there again. It's a physical defensive line for the Jets. They are not going to allow a lot of room there. And Petaluma's had a week to work out a lot of creative plays and try to get this Jets defense off balance, but it's something that's going to be hard to do as much as the Petaluma offense comes in with so much confidence. 275 rushing yards per game on the year, 58 receiving yards through the air, 38 touchdowns, and 333 yards per game. Pedersen on the sweep. Broke 1 tackle, but there were Jets all over it. That brings up a 3rd and long. And at the 30 here, it would be a far field goal, and considering how Hoggy looked on that first one, this is absolutely 4-down territory for Petaluma. Powers has not been afraid to air it out. And it's pretty conservative play calling last couple games for head coach Rick Chris, and victories over Sonoma Valley, Napa, and then the 1-point loss to the Gauchos. But he has called this game a lot more aggressively. I think he knows what he's up against. Powers rolls out. He's got Freitas over the middle. Just get enough for the first down. He actually went backwards, and lucky he got back because he nearly lost the first down, but that should be enough to move the sticks. Oh, I am incorrect. It's a little hard to see, as I mentioned, where that marker is. He's about 4 yards short. 4th and 4. And a huge 4th down. Petaluma badly needing a score to get back in this one. Prieto in the backfield. Pedersen in motion. Powers fakes. And he's got a man in the slot, a first down completion down to the 15. That's confident pass and catch there, as it is hauled in by Ryan Sullivan, the junior, who has not gotten a lot of action coming into this one, but with Freitas not fully healthy right now and Havard, a case of the drops early, the Trojans look to the junior, who only had 3 catches, 29 yards coming in, and he makes one of the biggest catches of Trojan's season to move them down to the 13. Freitas got room to the outside. But just excellent job by the Jets. They have eliminated Freitas so far. He is the one big play on the screen, but they fly to the ball. These Jets. It's a B-82 bomber right to the runner. Freitas gets no gain on the carry. 2nd and 10. 8:26 remaining here in the second quarter. The Jets leading 14-0 in the first round of the NCS playoffs. Beautiful Alameda. It's a beautiful night, too. About 65 degrees. If it wasn't such an urban setting, you'd be able to see the stars, but it is clear. Freitas now the other way. You could see trying to get Sembita out there and help him block, but the Jets are just getting to everything right now, and Petaluma's going to have to look through the air. It was Nagavulu again who has a sack on Powers, and it's been all over the field. But it is a rushing attack that is, besides vintage, not faced a defense of this caliber all season long. 3rd and 10, and again, 4th down territory if you're Petaluma. Diamond form, Powers, nice hard count again. Has time. And the completion to Prieto. Will it be enough? Down to the 7. It's going to be close. And we have an injured Jet now on the sideline. But Powers has done an excellent job so far tonight. He has looked calm in the pocket. He's looked comfortable. And he is throwing really good balls so far. This is going to be by far his most active game passing the football. And there's openings in the Jets secondary. And those will, if Petaluma can get a rhythm going, passing the football. They're going to open up rushing the ball. We'll wait the spot as Jets player remains down. 7:39 remaining here in the second quarter, 14-0. A long time for Landis Green to get up, but good to see him slowly limp off the field. Senior wide receiver, one of the captains on this team. Brings up a lot of drama before this key 4th down. Ball is spotted at the 10, so 4th and 3. Petaluma just converted a 4th down. They're going to have to do it again. There's no question here. You can't kick the field goal being down 14. Powers pushing Havard and Freitas out wide. And looking for Havard in the end zone. Incomplete, broken up. Excellent coverage, Havard. 6'2". You throw the ball up, he can go up and get it, but he could not get that one. And Trojans have twice traveled into the Jets' red zone and have come away with no points. Encinal has twice traveled into Petaluma's red zone, and they've come away with 14 points. That is not a good sign for success for Petaluma. So the Jets will take over at the 10. Petaluma aggressive there. I mean, they are looking for pass plays on these 4th down. It's been a hard night running the football early, but that's Petaluma's identity, and the Jets have done an excellent job taking it away. Reynolds Romero looking downfield. It is caught. I have no idea how. And it's going to be a touchdown for the Jets. Freitas looked like he could intercept it. It was tipped and somehow hauled in by Teddy Oliver, who has all 3 touchdowns tonight. He's been all over the field. Romero Reynolds just threw it up, and Oliver took it away from Freitas, who was right there. 20-0. Unbelievable. Oliver, 379 yards coming into the day. Through the air, 63.2 yards per game, 3 touchdowns. He's already doubled his touchdown count in the 11th game of the season. And everything that could go wrong for Petaluma is going wrong right now. Extra point is up and good, 21-0. One play after the Trojans nearly punch it in. The Jets go 90 yards down the field, their third 50-yard-plus play of the game. We talked about their big play capability, and they have done just that. 21-0, 7:02 remaining in the second quarter. Here at Willie Stargell Field, a lot of famous alumni have come through here, as obviously Willie Stargell, the Pittsburgh Pirates Hall of Famer. long time ago was gracing the baseball field that's right behind the football field. And a lot of stars have come through, including Osiris Johnson, who was a second-round draft pick of the Miami Marlins. Played on the Encinal baseball team. Havard fields that short kick. And it's going to be good starting field position for Petaluma at the 40. If it was a must-score before, now it's a must-score with 2 exclamation points for the Petaluma offense. They need a touchdown before they go to the break. They will get the ball to start the second half. And they will catch some breaks. You'll always get some. But they need something to pick their heads up about. It looked like the forced fumble, Harmamio's recovery, and a really excellent drive all the way down to the 10 that they could punch it in, but I fall short. Give to Prieto. About 3 yards, but it has been a struggle for Prieto and for a Petaluma team that's averaging 6 yards per carry. They are used to just being able to run it down the throat with the triple option, and things work that way. They are not going to probably reach 300 yards of offense in this game unless something changes. But only 4.8 completions per game, and I think they've already nearly reached that, and a couple drops. They'd want more. Powers has a nice little seam. Read option, and then a late horse collar is going to tack on 15 more yards. We've seen the Jets' undisciplined play a couple times tonight. The late hit out of bounds. This is a young team, and Petaluma, if they can get back in it, could get the Jets frustrated. I'm not going to call it face mask, so something was pulled. So Trojans will move into Jets territory on the Powers run, which has been an effective form of offense. As the Jets have really crowded Prieto and probably saw some film of the Egg Bowl, and Prieto running it down the middle between, often on the right side, between seniors Nick Zambita and Daniel DeCarli, who've been on the varsity team since they were sophomores. But it's been an excellent job by the offensive line. Mario Harmamio, Chris Oliveira at center. We've seen Matt Salyers, the junior, as well. Been anchored an offensive line that has been so big, helping out Prieto, Freitas, and all the running backs. Powers fakes again, and again there's more room down the right side as he dives close to a first down at the 40. Under 6 left to go here in the second quarter. Trojans move in again. Ayers, looks like he has a stinger or something. He limps off. And tight end who's key in blocking. Could be a chance to take a shot here. Not something Petaluma does a lot, though, passing. Freitas does lead the team in receiving. He split out to the left. 157 yards receiving for Petaluma on the 2nd and 1. There's a whistle and a stop. Powers is confused. The clock is running, and now the whistle is blown dead. I don't know what the stoppage is here. It has not been a well-ref game. And a conversation with the offensive linemen. I don't know what the conversation's about, but head coach Rick Christ also in a conversation with the referees. Now Jack Hartman joining the conversation, the sophomore safety. He can be a little raw at times, but a great talent who went on a 50-yard run in the Egg Bowl last week. Started off an excellent first half, and a couple plays went different. Things could have turned out differently for Petaluma, and this game would have been live on our YouTube channel, Steve Ellison Field. Petaluma could have pulled out a victory, but instead a 37-36 loss to Casa Grande, also breaking a 2-game winning streak after a 30-12 victory over Sonoma Valley and a 41-22 victory over Casa Grande. So Hartman will enter, and he converts the first down. So I don't know why you have to talk to the referee before you enter the game, but Hartman picks up 5 on the quarterback keeper, and he's debatably even a better runner than Powers. Out to the 35, and Trojans moving the football again. 3rd time they've done it, but they have to punch it in. Get the score and get the ball in the 3rd quarter and get some momentum and a chance to turn it around. Powers fakes, gets through the first reaches of hands of the defensive lineman for the Jets. And he's close to another first down. 9 more yards. And right now it is placing in the belly of Prieto. And the Trojans are following their linemen downfield and finding room. Petaluma had to find its identity, whatever the case that was, whether it was running the football. But right now it is quarterback runs, and it's just not a team that's going to want to pass the ball on this dual threat triple option. Now they give to Prieto. He spins through some tacklers, and one of his best runs of the day down to the 27 more yards. And the third time the Trojans have entered into the Jets' red zone. 33, and Petaluma would love to run the clock down and give no time for the Jets, who right now are tearing up a Petaluma defense that, besides the forced turnover, is just having a disastrous time. Excellent job on the hard count. Powers, second time that he has drawn off the Jets. No, they're going to call a false start. My bad. Looked like the Jets move first, but if you don't snap it when the player is over the line, and then the offensive player moves later, as long as it's not initiated by the defensive movement, that can be a false start, and that's a costly one for this ground attack. You do not want to fall behind. Now it's 1st and 15. Excellent game so far for the senior quarterback, Cole Powers. He airs it out downfield, and it's just out of the reach of Freitas. It was a high arcing ball. Freitas had beaten the defense. The safeties for Encinal are looking around, looking like, how did he get there? That's what Freitas does to a lot of players. But it was a fluttering butterfly, and Freitas unable to haul it in. 2nd and 15. And you can help. This field is so quiet. The stands are pretty quiet. It's remarkable. You can hear head coach Keith Miner just shouting timeout. And if you listen real closely, you could practically hear the game plans on both sides, especially for Encinal. Their coaches are quite vocal. So 2:42 left to go here. 2nd and 15 from the 25. Petaluma needing a score, trailing 21-0 from Alameda. A lot on the line here, not just their 23 seniors on Petaluma to keep their season going, but also they can face Cardinal Newman, the Sonoma County powerhouse, at their campus next week. And I think it'd mean a lot for these players to face the team of Newman's caliber. Screed pass to Freitas, right at the stick. That's the original line of scrimmage. So now it's going to be about 3rd and 10. Screen pass worked for 30 yards earlier, and they've looked for it a couple more times with minimal effect, and has to be 4th down territory again, right at the 20 for Petaluma. And you can't kick field goals now. For a team that's much more experienced than Petaluma, they have looked like the ones that aren't experienced. Their lack of finish. Powers face, got a man in his face, and it's intercepted. And now look out, he's got a parade down the sideline, and he is gone. Touchdown Jets. A heartbreaking play for Petaluma as Powers looked down the sideline, and it was excellently read by Vincent Noonley, the sophomore defensive back. 2nd on the team in tackles, and he goes 80 yards for the pick 6. Petaluma's reached the red zone now 3 times, and they still have no points to show for it. And it is a long road back now for Petaluma, and it is not going to be a fun scene in their locker room in a minute 38. Still probably enough time to do something offensively. They're blowing this dead because there is a small child that has run out into the end zone. That's not a good idea in a high school football game. It's a very, very open field. with the bay. Pretty much you walk out and the bay is right behind the field, walked out with the sun setting. Absolutely gorgeous scene. It's a really unique field, and it's really something cool to see for all the players. It's very unique. Certainly not Steve Ellison Field. Extra point on the way, right through the uprights. Encinal cheerleaders cheer their approval. It's the Encinal Jets 28, the Petaluma Trojans 0. Petaluma High Sports have had some history of putting some clunkers forward in NCS. And it was 2 years ago here at the home of the Jets. Petaluma was down and out early against Encinal and never really got going in a 47-6 loss. That was a young Trojan team, though, who probably surpassed expectations in that season. And a much better Encinal team than probably this year. This is an 8-9 matchup, but it does not look like that. Petaluma inability to finish, though yardage-wise, is not going to look that drastically different. Freitas with some room down the sideline, using that speed all the way to the 50. He's returned 2 kickoffs for touchdowns this year, and an excellent return gets Petaluma in business, probably right back to the red zone, and then right now it just seems like they're going to find some way to mess it up once they get there. And credit to this Encinal defense. One of the reasons they're hard and physical at the line, and they're bend not break. They've been bending to this Petaluma offense that has been so good for so much of the year, but they have not broken in the red zone. And it doesn't help that Trojan defense has struggled, and Petaluma can't kick field goals. And the one they tried, Hagia, did not look good. Powers over the middle and dropped. 1:19 left, 3 timeouts, plenty of time. Trojans move downfield, and they are using all sorts of different wide receivers. Robbie Izetta, the senior, gets in the action. He doesn't have a catch all season long. I mean, question why he's the one you're targeting, but you got to pull out all the stops right now. Izetta we'll see on the varsity basketball team, but they tip off later this month. And Powers throws incomplete. Miscommunication there. This is why this is not a passing team. It's not smooth looking. The pass game works for Petaluma when it's working with the run offense. But right now, if you're going to rely on it, then they're going to punt the football back, and Encinal will have a chance for potentially more points before this half is over. They have all 3 timeouts. Sweep to Pedersen, and guess who it was? Yeah, you can see him. It's a scary-looking man. Big number 21, Josiah Nagaluvo, all over the place. Drags down Pedersen, forces a timeout for Encinal, but that's about all. And the Trojans have no option but to punt the football. So Nick Ayers out to punt. Don't expect any fake this time. It was a good play call by head coach Rick Christ, and he had Freitas out in the flat on the fake punt, and it just didn't work out. Ayers with a boomer to the 20. There's a lot of speed on this Jets team. We've seen it. Out to about the 33. That will leave 49 seconds for David Romero-Reinholz, who it feels like he's barely been on the field, to get some more work. And he hasn't had to do much. He hasn't been on the field, and at the 8-minute mark with the pick 6. A long drive by Petaluma once again, resulting in no points. Romero-Reinholz in the gun. He's been good, though, when he's been in there. Couple long passes, and he's looking deep again. And it is, it is caught again. Zarko in on the coverage, the sophomore, but the Jets are just coming up with everything right now. Zarko with good coverage, and it was really whoever could wrestle the ball out quicker, and it was Onega who was able to wrestle the ball out. 30-yard pass completion. The Jets quickly in business. Here's a screen. I want to let him get out of bounds as Ayers has just run right over all the way down to the 30. You do not see that a lot. It's probably going to be first team all VVAL, Nick Ayers, and he just got trucked by Archie Cole. That is play, signifies exactly what has happened in this first half for Petaluma. They're getting run over. They still have all 3 timeouts. You may as well use them now if you're Keith Minor, and a chance for more points for the Jets. Pile them on. Over the middle, and incomplete. Freitas might have got a hand on it. And finally, something falls incomplete. This small crowd here at Willie Stargell Field lets out a gas, but falls incomplete. Try to get you a view maybe later behind me. You can just get a peek at the San Francisco City skyline. Got bushes right behind me, but there is something, or there, you can just peek over, see the beautiful skyline. We have a timeout by Encinal. They have 2 timeouts remaining, so they can certainly use whatever they want. 18 seconds left here in the first half. And Encinal trying to tack on a couple more points before this half ends. Trojans will get the ball to start the second half. But the way their offense has looked, it's not a fast-moving offense. It's not one that wants to go through the air and move the ball quickly. When the Trojans have fallen behind against American Canyon, against Vintage, by large numbers, yes, they did come back against Montgomery, but for the most part, when the Trojans fall behind big, they do not come back. 24 seniors, 13 juniors on this team. Only 2 sophomores, but 7 more called up. You saw Zarko, who we expected would get some action. The sophomore led the JV team in rushing yards, receiving yards, and tackles, and he'll be a star for this team next year. And there's always a breakout player. I won't be here for it, but Zarko is that player that I think very well might be the star, breakout star for Petaluma, potentially on both the offensive and defensive side next year. Second year of VVAL. Should be interesting to see how they do. Romero Reynolds got a wide open wide receiver. Breaking tackles, now thinking end zone. Touchdown, Jets. It's just easy right now against this tepid Petaluma defense. There's no other way to say it. They look absolutely horrible. They cannot tackle. They cannot get pressure on the quarterback. Balls are going through their hands, and a lot of it's things going wrong. But it's been a horrible performance by the Petaluma defense that, as bad as they were in the second half against the Gauchos, it looked even worse tonight. And 1 minute was no issue for the Jets to score 34-0. Extra point, booted through. 35-0. 6 seconds before this first half mercifully ends. All Jets. I haven't said Encinal's kicker's name, and maybe pardon me for not saying it, because his name is Micah Konapeliahi Pawahi. I think I got it right. He's booted all 5 extra points through. Has had some nice kickoffs. But there's about 20 letters in his last name. 5'8", 150-pound junior. 6 seconds left. We'll see what he does with it. Hartman and Freitas, both dangerous back to return. Hartman should be good next year. Petaluma as well. And whistles on the kickoff. And flags. This has been a not well refereed game. They have not controlled it well. They have been weird stoppages. They even replayed it down. And you give refs the opportunity to referee an NCS game because of their strong performance. But I don't know who's judging them because they have not looked good at all. Especially compared to the Egg Bowl, which was so well refereed last week. And obviously controversy on a catch, no catch. We'll talk about in the second half. But I thought they really controlled the Egg Bowl well. There was no issues. There was very few penalties. It was really an excellent job handling that game by those referees. So they reset it to 6 seconds. It was an offside, so Encinal kicks 10 yards further back. It's another short squibber fielded by Gianni Johnson, who heads out of bounds at the 50. 2 seconds left. Cole Powers can try to take a shot. The way halves have ended for Petaluma, which is been remarkable. You wouldn't want to take a snap, I think, and that's exactly what they'll do. The Trojans will rush to the locker room. They cannot get out of here sooner. It is all Encinal Jets at the end of one, 35-0. We are ready for the start of the second half, 35-0, Encinal leading. There are some very good games going around the Bay Area, just not here. Terralinda, who Petaluma beat earlier in the year, is in a battle with undefeated Pinole Valley. That's a 6-11 matchup and 14-7 game at the half. Good luck to the fellow Trojans. Terralinda out of the MCAL, maybe with a shot there to pull off an upset at the 11-6. Trojans will start with the ball. It's Pedersen out to the 30. And we'll see what the Trojan offense can finish this time. They could easily have 21 points in this one, but have really struggled once they've gotten into the red zone. And obviously, a couple turnovers as well do not help. 14 first downs for Petaluma in that first half, averaging only 4.3 yards per rush. We mentioned that it's a lot harder going through the tackles. 135 yards overall, including 5 of 9 on third down. But no points is what counts in the end. Powers gets hit hard and pushed back. That could be a late hit there. I've already seen 2 of those by Encinal. Couple yards for Powers. Trojans have certainly been on the field for a long time, trying to wear down the Encinal offense, who has 301 yards. Only 8 first downs and just 3.3 yards per rush. They haven't found a lot of room running the football either, but 268 yards through the air. 9 of 12 for Ryan Halls Romero. He has been electric, and this Petaluma secondary is really struggling, including 3 for 4 for Encinal on third down. They haven't had to punt the football. 1 turnover. Prieto and stacked up, maybe a yard. Tough going for the senior running back who's been that breakout player. Talking about maybe Zarko being that player next year. Prieto has been that player this year. Third down. And always interesting to see out of the locker room if whatever the situation is, teams make adjustments or have energy, and be interested to see if Petaluma has any energy trying to finish this off strong. It's always key early to try to keep any energy going. Powers looking downfield, and it's incomplete. He had Pedersen, and he could not hold on. Pedersen slow to get up. Powers put it up where he had to, and Pedersen leaping just off his fingertips. It's been that kind of night. And the Trojans will bring on the punt team. Powers took a shot. He's 5 for 14. That's probably the most passing attempts he has in the first half that he's had all year long in a game in total. 44 yards. Freitas, 3 catches, 28 yards. Most of that on that screen to start the game. Powers, 51 rushing yards. Freitas only 11 rushing yards. And Prieto just with 21. His one is muffed. That can be an issue. And then the Trojans, multiple of them fall down. And look out. He's still going. Only Pedersen to beat. He is gone. That is unbelievable. Mushed the ball. Should have been down at the 10. And instead he returns it for a touchdown. Oh, if this keeps up, the Jets may score 100 tonight. 41-0. And it is good to see number 3, Landis Green, who were really slow getting up, obviously feeling healthy, and he took off. Had the speed, but just Trojans just falling down and can't making tackles. And you can understand at this point if Petaluma doesn't even want to play football anymore. I think if they could choose to get on the bus now, they would. 42-0. Coaches can agree to run the clock on the third quarter if they want, and head coach Rick Chris might agree to that at this point. Everything that can go wrong will go wrong, and then he'll do it 5 times over. From beautiful Alameda, it's been an ugly night here for Petaluma. They trail 42-0 from Willie Stargell Field. 10:07 remaining here in the third, and the Jets getting ready to kick it off for the Not 1, not 2, not 3, not 4, not 5, not 6, but 7th time today. This is a rough way to go out for the 25 seniors on this Petaluma team that have seen a lot of bright moments. Pedersen again on the return out to the 35. Trojan offense will have a similar position to set up as their last drive. And you don't want to, I mean, as much as you want to get out of here, you also don't want to be embarrassed. So you want to, certainly you want to try to score, put some points up on the board, and maybe not make the score look as ugly as it has been. Encinal, lots of success in the last 3 years. 11-1 last year, we mentioned, in 2017. And 8, the ball is out. Prieto and Powers were 8 up so well. Encinal just ripped the football out and ran into the end zone again. It's getting to the point of ridiculousness. First snap, and Prieto and Powers both trying to hand the football off. Encinal in there so quickly, just decided to take it away. They're going to quickly run out of numbers on the scoreboard at this rate. 9:43 to go, 48-0. I was saying Encinal 11-1 last year, 5-0 won the WAC, you could call it, Western Alameda County Shoreline League. Finished 3rd this year. Couple losses, but realignment, O'Dowd was in their league. So the extra point's good. 49-0 for the kicker that we don't want to say his name from Encinal. But why not give it another try? It's going to be a long night. Konopilaki Puwahi. I think I was closer the first time. You can hear the loud cheering and celebration now on the Encinal sideline. They're going to don't have too many reserves to use, which is why this could be even more ugly. Petaluma will get to play a lot of its seniors in their final moment. They'll probably also have a lot of the sophomores that were called up get some experience as well. That could mean the score could get worse. But thanks for sticking with us on this Saturday night. Jets will go to 8-3. They were 3-2 in league. They're going to take on Cardinal Newman next Friday night in Santa Rosa. It's a good Jets defense, but boy, Cardinal Newman, and they're both offensively, defensively, all over. That team is something special. Ranked in the top 25, Northern California, I think top 10 by Cal Sports. Their only loss of the year is to Liberty, who's ranked number 3 in the state, and very well might play De La Salle in the Open Division Finals. And I could see Cardinal Newman winning a state title this year. It's going to be rough sledding next week for Encinal, but if everything goes right, maybe they keep on going. Hartman bobbled it, picks it up, and unlike Encinal where they bobble it, pick it up, and score, that's not going to happen here. Hartman brought down at the 20. And the Petaluma offense for the 3rd time in this half, even though we've only been through 2.5 minutes, will start. The running clock has started, which means it could be a long night, but an early end, mercifully, to Petaluma, who's made the hour drive south. 27-7 in the last 3 years for this Encinal team. Lost 18 seniors from last year, but came in averaging 112 passing yards per game, 101 rushing yards per game. Been a lot more electric, though, offensively tonight. They have big play capabilities, and they've done it on repeat. Powers remains in there, give up the middle. Couple yards. That was Derek Pomey, the senior, is getting some action. Had 2 touchdowns at the goal line against Casa Grande last week. It's 15.3 yards per reception. When just looking at the stats, you could tell Encinal had that big play capability. Probably averaging 50.3 yards per reception. 35 tackles for loss, 12 sacks, 8 interceptions, only allowing 10 points per game on average. Encinal defense, and they've bended tonight, but they've forced turnovers, and Trojans got in the red zone, but could not punch it in when they were in there in the first half. Freitas keeps his legs moving and make it a 3rd and reasonable, probably about 4. 8 minutes remaining here in the 3rd quarter. The water shimmering to the right, and see the lights distantly of downtown Alameda. Beautiful downtown. The lights of San Francisco behind me. We promised a shot of that. Stay tuned. 3rd, and we'll call it 4. Pareto in the backfield playing his final game as a Trojan. What a great year he has had. He's going to go over 700 yards. Powers the fake. That's been effective. He had a nice yardage rushing, but could not get the edge. That time he's going to be forced out. And that means the punt team will be back out for Petaluma.
Quarterback keeper by number 2, Cole Powers. Forced out of bounds by number 42,
Booyah Akapata. At least that's how the PA announcer said it. Forces Powers out. They're going to huddle, and they may as well go for it. Guess why not? Actually, it was the first, so we got enough for the first. My bad. Powers gets the first. The line screw's a little, chain screw's a little confused. But the Trojans will move the sticks for the first time in this first half as we've passed the halfway point in the 3rd quarter.
Encinal started off their year 41-0 victory over Washington, and I mentioned in the open the 42-28 victory over Encinal. And their first loss, 22-7 to Deonza. Won the Island Bowl in a close one against rival Alameda High, the Hornets. 22-18 before a 41-0 victory over Hercules to start league play. 49-17 over Castro Valley, 40-6 over Piedmont, 35-6 over Berkeley. They were rolling, and San Leandro and Dow dropped those last 2, but they were close. We thought, oh, maybe Encinal would be a little down after 2 losses. They've been energized tonight and ready, facing competition that's not at the level of both San Leandro and O'Dowd. O'Dowd ranks 2nd in all Division II. We could see them maybe playing Rancho Cotati in CS Division II finals in a couple weeks. Saw Rancho last night beat Casas. That one's off the hands of number 6 for the Trojans. There's Dante Ratto, who's switched numbers. Good to see him back out there. He broke his arm early in the year in the El Molino game and didn't think he would be able to come back this year, but able to make it back for NCS. So that 2nd down pass falls incomplete. It's 3rd and 10. Wind starting to pick up here on the island. Powers has his tight end, Nick Ayers, for the first down. Nice play by Powers, man in his face, and able to find Ayers in a lot of traffic. Ayers is mentioned linebacking has been a big factor there, and has not had a lot of receptions, but talk about the controversy of the Egg Bowl. Ayers right at the center of that in the first half. Had a 4th down and 15 passes. Powers is under pressure, and look out. He's going to get thrown down in that dirt, and that's going to be a loss of about 15 on the sack. And there was just no protection there for the senior quarterback. But Ayers looked like he had maybe made the catch. It was a 4th down from the Trojan 15. Petaluma already up 7-0 at the end of the first quarter. And Ayers' photos show clearly got his foot down. However, they ruled it incomplete. Ball was turned over on downs, and Casa would obviously eventually come back to win the game. But Casa would make it 14-7. If Ayers had scored that touchdown, it would have been 14-0. And if Petaluma had scored their later touchdown, it would have been 21-0. It's hard to imagine the Gauchos coming back from that deficit. So that was a game-changing play. 3rd down, pressure again. Powers hit as he throws. He's got a man, and it is complete. Nice passing catch to Robbie Izetta, who makes his first varsity football catch. It might be his last, too, the senior. Gets back to the line of scrimmage to make it a 3rd and reasonable. 15-yard pickup on the play as Powers is getting to air it out tonight. His arm's going to be sore tomorrow morning. That's for certain. .3:15. It is a running clock, so this is going to. The rest of this game is going to go quickly. Play action. Excellent screen set up, but then, oh my goodness. There was a monster of a man. How is that not there's a late push there. That should have been a penalty, but
even though Powers did an excellent job getting rid of it and getting up to Pedersen, normally with a blitz, you think there'd be room, but Josiah Nakaluva, that's a bad man there, that linebacker. He was waiting and stood up Pedersen, and the punt team will come out for the Trojans. Obviously back and forth the Egg Bowl, and then it came down to the last possession with the Gauchos, had the ball at the 32. Probably most of you have seen this. 40 seconds left, thrown into the end zone, ruled a touchdown. But picture, we showed it Thursday on Trojan Live on our daily morning announcements as Ayers booms this one. It takes a Trojan bounce down to the 15. That's where Encinal will set up their offense for the first time in this quarter. Should I mention, this will be the first snap for Romero Reynolds this entire third quarter. He's barely had any offense any time on the field, and yet scored 49 points for his offense. But ball in that photo, the Egg Bowl clearly shown hitting the ground. You can see the turf that is being brought up. There's no hand underneath for Casa Grande's wide receiver Carson Garrigan. Should have been ruled incomplete, and you can't blame the refs on it. It's a hard angle. But it was just, that's the fact that it should have been ruled incomplete. Petaluma certainly could have still lost the game. Casa would have had it at the 30, still 20 seconds left, in a Trojan defense that was really struggling. You never know, but if it had been ruled correctly, we would not be here probably, and the score might look very different between these two teams. The pass is dropped. So you see some new faces out there for Petaluma, a lot of the seniors, but a couple other new players getting some action. We'll try to go through them. Sophomores, talked about Zarko, a couple other talented sophomores from the JV team called up and should be making an impact in the next couple of years for the Trojans. 1 minute remaining in the third. Romero Reynolds, hands off. Excellent tackle. Number 60 in on the tackle. That's an unfamiliar number. Go under a minute. Ryan Ramos in on the tackle, senior, who doesn't get a lot of playing time. So there are also some seniors that will get some additional playing time as well. Might see Luke Rivas, who led second on the JV team in the wide receiver position, catching the football, receiving yards. Armamio in on pressure. Romero Reynolds gets away, and Pomey chases after him. Romero Reynolds finally forced out. Runs into a Trojan assistant coach. A long scamper for maybe a couple yards. Brings up a third and about 8. And the clock is going to run out on this third quarter. 12 more minutes remain in the Petaluma season. It's the Encinal Jets 49. It's the Petaluma Trojans 0. Couple of earlier games today. D2, Santa Rosa season comes to a close. Team that beat Petaluma in the second game of the year. Encinal has the punt team out for the start of the fourth quarter. Marin Catholic rolled over the Panthers 42-0. Defending Division III champs moved up to Division II. There was no one back to return for the Trojans, so this ball will roll for eternity. Down to the 12. And slowly, but surely be down there as like a baby being put to bed. Clock continues to run here on this running clock. 49-0 the score. Barron Christian knocked out Ferndale in D5, 58-26. And also in D5, Power St. Bernards of Eureka, 61-28 over Albany. Benicia in D1 looking like they're going to get by Alhambra, leading 28-7. And good news if you're rooting for the VVAL, Justin Sienna leading Piedmont 20-7. Barrett Donahoe has to be the best quarterback that Petaluma saw all year long. That is the best game of the year, and we'll have a little kind of recap of the Trojan season. In these next 12 minutes, Hartman takes off, and a nice run for the sophomore Hartman, 15 yards out to the 40. He can run, he's talented. He'll be the quarterback next year for Petaluma. Certainly has some potential. Justin Sienna and Piedmont are at the half, and the Braves lead in 20-7. They're the underdogs in that D5 game, but Donahoe, excellent arm. That Justin Sienna team has some tough losses this year to Casa Grande, to Sonoma Valley. They lost a couple of 3 one-possession games. So Hartman isn't in a quarterback, and that would be Michael Pichardo up the middle, 5 yards. More seniors getting some action. El Cerrito, another D3 game. They are all over Tamalpais, 41-0. They will move on to the second round. Terra Linda has tied things up in Pinole, 14-14. Pinole Valley didn't play a strong schedule, but they haven't lost all year long. The Trojans are looking to pull off a huge upset. Good to see an MCAL team besides Marin Catholic be successful, too. It's Pichardo again. A couple more yards, and he's right at the markers. Senior Pichardo, speaking of Justin Sienna, had a memorable sack to help beat the Braves. Getting some playing time. San Leandro, who beat Encinal, leading Deer Valley 24-21 in D1. One of the more intriguing games of the evening was the 8-9 in D2, which has been a lot more competitive than this 8-9. Hartman and Pichardo never agreed on who wanted the ball, and that led to a poor situation, 1-yard loss. Montgomery leading American Canyon 9-7 in the third quarter. Petaluma's seen both of those teams. That should be a good one to the whistle. That's Santa Rosa Junior College. And the other Petaluma team in action with a very similar score. They trail St. Vincent's, trailing Middletown 48-0. Trent Herzog, the former Casa Grande's coach season. We'll see that in him, but St. Vincent's had some success this year. Nice pass by Hartman in the slot in the first down. As the Trojans work it down to the 40. And the offense getting some movement again. Hogya, who's senior wide receiver, has had some big plays this year. Did not look good on his 1 missed field goal, but 5 catches, 75 yards coming in to today. And Hoggy's had some nice moments at the wide receiver position. Zarco was in on that play. He jogs off. A couple other of these sophomores called up. Ivan Cortez, who played very well in the JV team's Egg Bowl loss. Robbed down the sideline and finally knocked out, but not before a 15-yard pickup. The Petaluma offense keeps things rolling. Joseph Alioto, who only has 3 carries on the air. Junior gets some action, 15 yards, and can't criticize Encinal for letting their guard down. 7:20 left to go, and Trojans would love to get some points and at least not get the embarrassment of being shut out. A couple linemen called up as well for Petaluma. Julian Chavez, Ryan Batista, and the junior Andy Girardelli, along with wide receiver Rocco Palmini. So you see all those players on varsity next year. They helped lead the JV team. Finished 4-6 under head coach Nick Emanuel. Got a league victory over Hartman has pushed down. Got a league victory over Sonoma Valley. It was an exciting JV game against Casa Grande, too, but they fell short 21-7, just couldn't hold on. And they led 7-6 at the end of the half. 2nd and 10, 6:45 and counting left. We look back at this Petaluma season, and so many highs, so many lows. It's really been up and down. We said the open, and unfortunately it ends on a pretty bad low. This ball stepped in the air and nearly picked. Hartman was looking for Hogya. Opened up with a lot of hope. The 21-7 victory over Montgomery, we were there for that opener, and the Vikings have turned out to be such a good team. Petaluma came back. They trailed 7-0 in that game. Trailed 7-0 in the half, really played poorly in the first half, put 21 points up. Freitas looked electric, and it looked like maybe it's something special. It was a young team, but Trojans showed adversity. Hartman airing it out, looking for Mokel, incomplete. Be nice to have something to cheer about before you get on the bus. Looking for the lengthy junior wide receiver who will have to be a factor next year, similar to Hartman with that, or Havard with that height. But he'll have to learn to catch the football, something Trojan wide receivers have struggled on this year. Some more substitutions. Josh Dunbar enters. Mario Zarco back out there. number 8. Approaching 5 minutes to go here. Ticking clock. It's Pichardo again. Hartman looking like he wants to run. He's got a seam. Oh, it takes a hard hit at the 15. He's fun to watch, though. Jukin, diving. Powers likes to run between the tackles. He's athletic, has some speed, but he's not going to elude as many people. Hartman really has that elusive athletic factor that can be fun. Second game was a setback for the Trojans. Lost 42-26 to Santa Rosa, and that kind of set the scene for the up and downs. Defense really struggled in that one. Santa Rosa probably worse team than Montgomery on the year, but Petaluma couldn't stop JV Long. Screen pass. Falls incomplete. Second down. Looking for Ratto, the junior. And then the Trojans bounced back to this 21-7, another ugly victory over Terra Linda, but they gutted it out against a good Trojan team. Electric opener at the new Steve Ellison Field. And the sign of defensive struggles, though, kind of showed itself in their homecoming victory over El Molino. 56-31, they gave up a lot of points in that game to not a great Lions team. Coach Chris wasn't too happy. Hartman threw it where my camera was, but there was no wide receiver there. He was looking for Mokel again. Under 4 left to go. It's now third down. Petaluma at the 20. And the defensive struggles were not necessarily, though, the main issue. The next week, 43-16 loss to American Canyon, but it was finishing halves, something that's been an issue all year long. 21 points scored in the last minute by American Canyon. Pick 6, block punt. And statistically, the Trojans were only outgained by the Wolves by 50 yards, but that game was done pretty much by the time the third quarter came out. Hartman rolling out under pressure. He's going to try to throw the ball, and it came out and rolls out of bounds. I thought he might have had some room. Hard hit by number 7 for the Jets, who is celebrating. It was Augustine Tatalatu, so that was butchered. The sophomore with the hard hit. It brings up a fourth down. You may as well go for it. This is going to be the last opportunity for Petaluma if they don't want to get shut out tonight. Then the game of the year after American Canyon. We were there. You can go on the YouTube channel. All the games that we're talking about, except for Santa Rosa, which we were not out. All other 10 games up on the YouTube channel in complete play-by-play analysis, interviews. That Justin Siena game was one for the books. Hartman's got a man on the flat. It's Pichardo, and he's crunched. So the Trojans are going to get shut out tonight. Nice job put together by the sophomore quarterback. If you're watching Trojan football the next 2 years, you're going to see a lot more number 3 under center in the future. There was just a taste. 2 minutes left. Encinal's only got to run a couple plays, and the night will mercifully and quickly end for the Trojans. That Justin Siena game, 31-28. Barrett Donahoe was running all over the place, making plays with his legs, torching the Petaluma defense, but Garrett Freitas, 238 yards. It was a memorable game, homecoming night in Napa. The stadium was rocking, back and forth it went. Trojans made the stop. Encinal had the ball after Trojans were stopped on fourth down. Michael Pichardo had that sack, a sack to remember. And Justin Siena had to punt the football. Petaluma got it back, and all they needed to do was run out the clock. Moved it, but had a key fourth down. Could have kicked a field goal to make it a 6-point game. Handoff, dropped for a loss. Petaluma decided to go for it. Head coach Rick Chris playing aggressive. Cole Powers found his wide receiver Jacob Havard, only to take a knee. Trojans got their first VVAL victory, and that was a thriller of a game. Next week, 50-7 lost to Vintage. Petaluma really couldn't compete with the Crushers, who won VVAL. I think were severely underseeded NCS. They beat James Logan last night. And Vintage really cruised over everyone they played. Another tackle for loss. There's Ayers. He's getting at his final tackle of his probably ever in football career. Then the Trojans went on a win streak. Gutsy 30-12 victory over Sonoma Valley. Cruised by a bad Napa team, 41-22. And then we talked about the Yug Bowl. The 1-point loss and the loss here tonight to Encinal, where I don't have to explain it, but everything went wrong in that first half. Couple quick scores by Encinal in the second half put any fight and anything out of reach. Clock is running down. Encinal will not have to snap the football again. And that is going to be a final here tonight. It is the Encinal Jets 49, the Petaluma Trojans 0 here from Alameda. Trojans just could not keep their heads up, could not keep competing. Certainly the factor of the Egg Bowl. The Trojan supporters are riding their feet and clapping. We'll reminisce on the season a little more after interviews with the players, but a tough loss here tonight for Petaluma. 49-0. Interviews are next.
We're here with Jack Hartman after the Trojans' tough NCS loss. First, seeing all those seniors out there, what did this whole year mean, and what did the senior class mean to lead you, especially as one of the few underclassmen on this team?
I mean, the seniors just led all of us and just took control of our team and just let us do all of the games we had. And it was just really fun to play with them. And I'm really going to miss all the seniors. They were really good teammates and everything like that. So
You had a couple really big moments this year. The spectacular interception against Terra Linda, starting the Egg Bowl, and a couple nice moments tonight as well. How were you able to bring some big moments to this team as only a sophomore?
Well, I just played as hard as I could, and the whole team had my back. Like in the beginning of the Egg Bowl, they had my back, cheering me on and stuff. So, and all the coaches helping me out, showing me the ropes and stuff, just helping me out at practice.
And next year, you'll likely be the starting quarterback of this team. How do you want to continue to build this team, and how do you feel like you guys will grow next year?
I feel like the sophomores that we're going to bring up next year are going to play their hearts out, and we're just going to play as hard as we can. And the coaches will teach us everything that we need to know, and we'll just go out there and play.
Thank you so much, Jack. Congrats on a great season. All right, here with Garrett Freitas one final time after a very tough one here in Alameda. You had a remarkable career on the varsity team over the last 2 years. What will stand out that you'll remember?
The team aspect of the game, and just getting closer with a great group of guys. It's something I'll remember for the rest of my life.
You could tell the chemistry on this team was really tight, really close. What made that bond so tight, and how important was that to you guys' effectiveness as a team?
Well, we spend 3 hours together every single day, like just fighting to get better, and it just bonds us more than ever. And you can see it on the field. It's just the most important thing to make the team click and make everything work. It's the best part of football is the chemistry with like the group of guys that I played with.
Very successful season this year, including winning record in VVL and overall. What's the legacy that especially these seniors leave for this team?
To all the sophomores and juniors is just value it. It goes by fast, and it's here before you know it. So just make the most of it and have fun with it. Mostly just have fun.
Thank you so much, Garrett. It's been a pleasure to cover you. Here with head coach Rick Chris after a tough one here against Encinal. Everything that could go wrong seemed to go wrong in that first half. What do you take away mainly from the first half?
Well, I thought we moved the ball. I thought, there was a lot of good things that we did. Big plays. We had their first 2 touchdowns were a guy slipping and making it a big play. And then, we just had a lot of broken plays, kind of got us out of it. We were in the red zone 3 times to score, moved the ball well. They only outgained us 100 yards on the night. We just didn't, we couldn't close anything. So, and then they just got the returns and the interception for return, and we just didn't have it tonight.
Senior class seems like these guys were really tight. This team was really tight. Some remarkable players, too, in this senior class. Nick Ayers, Garrett Freitas, Daniel DeCarli, and so on. What are you going to remember about this group of seniors?
Well, like I said to them at the end, they're just good guys, good kids. Been a pleasure to coach them. You can have the best players in the world, but they've just been a pleasure. We had good leadership this year. And it's a good senior group. I've been able to kind of go through with them for a while, and I've known a lot of them since they're little kids and stuff. So it's been great. They should, one game doesn't define you.
Yeah.
So hopefully they realize that, and they can move on to other things and be successful, because they're great kids.
Thank you so much, Coach. Thank you for everything you've done last 3 years for me, coming out to games, live streams, being on the team bus. It's made my job so much easier, and it's been so much fun to cover the football team for the last 3 years, so I really appreciate it.
Well, it's been great having you. And Griffin, I'm sure we're going to see you on television someday, and I'm looking forward to it.
Thank you so much.
Great job.
Congratulations on the season. The head coach of the Trojans, Rick Christ. Also thank you to Garrett Freitas and Jack Hartman. So many people to thank. See if I can get through this without tearing up myself. But covered a lot of football players over the last 3 years. Raiden Cristobal, Jacob Rolson, Garrett Freitas, and go on with all the special players that I've seen out on these fields, and have been such great leaders and been so successful for Petaluma. So many big victories. The Justin Sienna victory this year stands out. The Egg Bowl victory last year. Terra Linda victory as well. Trojans victory against El Molino 3 years ago, and just covering Raiden Cristobal. Wow, there's been a lot of amazing moments covering this team for me personally over the last 3 years, and for Trojan Live overall, being on Brazil's patio and bringing all those games to you live. 700 viewers for the Egg Bowl last Friday. That was a peak, most viewers we've ever had for anything. I think we have about 500 people that have now watched the Terra Linda game from last year. So all our viewers that have made this possible and motivated me and tuned in, and parents that have told me about relatives tuning in from across the country to watch these games. Things like that always motivate me. Hey, Cole. Hey.
Shout out Trojan Live.
Thank you so much, Cole. It's been a pleasure to cover you.
It's been a pleasure.
It's been a lot of fun. Starting quarterback Cole Powers, whose great-grandmother watches all the way from Texas, all the games. That's one of the relatives that watches from everywhere. Final score here tonight, 49-0. As head coach Rick Christ said, everything that could go wrong did go wrong. They got in the red zone 3 times, didn't score. Defense was left off where they did the second half of the Egg Bowl, though they really struggled. They were slipping, and Encinal played well. It was a good football team, probably underseeded. The Trojans maybe overseeded, but in the end, they're not going to remember this game. All the seniors will remember the bond they had. This team was very tight. They played hard. They've battled through adversity. The victory over Montgomery, obviously the victory against Justin Sienna, I mentioned it, but that was just a remarkable game. This team showed a lot of poise and wasn't the most experienced team compared to last year, but they had something special in them that showed at a lot of points, and they were a lot of fun to cover. We've thanked most people. Want to thank everyone in Trojan Live, football-wise, that's helped me as well. Mr. Knox, the executive producer of Trojan Live, Mr. Brazil opening up the patio, Matthew Columba producing last 2 years, everyone that is anchored with me at live streams for football games, Ben Vandermeer, Peter Canale, TJ Fife. There's so many others. And I want to thank Mr. Jackson, statistician, who's provided me stats the last 3 years at all the games. That has been super helpful. Couldn't do without that. And then I want to thank head coach Rick Christ one final time. He has given me total access to the team, being able to interview the players, being able to interview him even after tough losses, and that has been so nice, being able to take the team bus and get to games and provide all the coverage of the football team to you. And I think that's important. Want to thank all the players that have provided me access, interviews, and want to thank all the students for tuning in and watching all of football coverage, football interviews. It's been great to have the support from the student body, and keeps me motivated and all of Trojan Live motivated. Thank you so much, Garrett, for every football game. That is going to do it here from Encinal High School. The final score 49-0 as the Trojans fall here in the first round of the NCS playoffs. Encinal goes on to face Cardinal Newman next year. Petaluma finishes the season 6-5 overall, 3-2 in VVAL. Should be good next year. We'll see who's bringing. Hopefully, more football is being brought to you. But for me, one final time from covering football, I'm Griffin Epstein. Good night.